Good morning, Yankees fans. Welcome to the Pinstripe Chronicles. I'm Rob, and I am back here with the homie Donald. The Yankees this weekend, we were talking about it. We wanted to come into this new week talking positives, talking about a series win, and that's exactly what we got. The Yankees take 2 out of 3 off of the Milwaukee Brewers on the road. The offense had an absolute outburst, 36 total runs, 30 in the last 2 games in the wins, most importantly. And some key guys did come back and contribute. Aaron Judge, the captain, looking like he's starting to turn things around. So, overall thoughts first about this series. We got the win. Donald, how are we feeling on this Monday morning?
It was fun to watch them just destroy the Brewers pitching. That was a lot of fun to watch. It was even more fun to watch Aaron Judge turn it around and start squaring up to pitches. Everything that every contact he made was right on the money. So he was crushing the ball left, right, and center. So that was great to see. Altogether, very positive. After I think game one was odd. It's not how you want to finish, but I thought we were kind of overplaying uh, the loss. I mean, it was extra innings. I mean, remember this whole ghost runner thing is a lot of nonsense. So it's hard to get too up and down. Do you know what I mean regarding the ghost runner situation and managing your pitching staff in that regard? Because it is so up in the air. Um, But I thought the Yankees torched them for the most part and destroyed them. 30 runs in 2 days is insane. I mean, dude, our football teams aren't going to do that. Aren't going to score 30 points in a game season. Well, the Giants certainly won't. So, like 30 runs in 2 days is insane. So there's a lot to be excited about, and I can't wait for this Orioles series. This is what it's all about. The two best teams in the East. Sorry, Heyman, the Yankees will make the playoffs, and the two best teams in the East going at it for the division, even though it's April. These games don't matter. It should be a lot of fun. It should be the kind of epic series that we used to have with the Red Sox back in the good old days of the 90s. Now, I'm not expecting Pedro Martinez to come over and like knock over our bench coach or anything like that, but there won't be any fights or anything like that. But it should be a tight series and a lot of fun to watch. I can't wait. Let's bring it on. Bring on the Orioles.
Yes, sir. Big series coming up starting tonight. But I wanted to say what's up to everybody in the chat. Joan, Medina, Garcia, Jake, Cold Italian Pizzas in here. Strike Zone, NFE, of course, Dev. We got the whole crew. Jonathan, FJ, Stevie B. Good to see everybody here bright and early on a Monday. We actually don't know where Uncle Tats is. Oh, it's just like if people are going to ask where he is, we don't know. If anyone has like a missing poster to make for Uncle Tats, please put one up because he has not responded to us. Uncle Tats is MIA right now, but I'm sure he's just enjoying some time with his family and we'll see him soon. But in case anyone was wondering, because I haven't seen him in a few days and I know he was on yesterday with Lynn, but he's kind of left us out to dry. So talking to you, Uncle Tats, I know you're going to watch this back. Talking to you, Tats. Answer the group chat. Let me ask you a question. Anyway, just wanted to give that one out there. A very good series for the offense. But let's talk about the bullpen management because that was a pretty big topic after that first game. Going with Clay Holmes for 1 inning, not going to him for the second inning. What was your thought? Because I saw a lot of mixed reactions. People saying it's not that big of a deal. I saw a lot of people saying like this is why Aaron Boone is not a good manager. He's not fit for this. They didn't like his response at the end of the game. I want to get your thoughts on this and people in the chat answer as well. Just overall thoughts about how that whole thing went in the first game of the series.
Well, I mean, let's be clear. It was a mistake, and I would have preferred had he owned it. The biggest issue for me was not that he came out in the 10th; it was that he came out in the 11th. Because anybody with any two sets of eyes could see that he needed smoke and mirrors and a miracle to get out of that 10th inning without only giving up that one run. Right? So the fact that he came out again in the 11th is mind blowing to me. This guy can't pitch. This guy is not any type of level of reliever. Now I do understand that there were certain situations that we couldn't help. For instance, I believe that we had some important arms that were unavailable, right? For one reason or other, through injury or tiredness or overusage or whatever. There was a bunch of reasons for it. So okay, um, but from what I understand, there was one other option that was available. It was Gonzalez, right? Gonzalez could have come in. You're telling me that we couldn't have brought Gonzalez in the 11th inning? We were so lucky to get out of that 10th. Gonzalez was the one to go to in the 11th inning. It was a really odd way of managing a bullpen. And then, to be honest, the way he managed the bullpen the entire series was very odd. Okay, so um, paint it anything else other than that. It was very odd. It's a mixed message. You've got a chance to win a game, but you basically don't for whatever reason. It's very odd. I'm saying the word odd because it's not egregious. It's not the end of the world. It's April, right? But it is kind of a mixed messaging when you see how the rest of the series was managed. When you're bringing in relievers up 10 runs, but you don't, you're happy to sacrifice a lead, or a tie game. Is just a very strange way of managing. So that I'm not going to. I'm not going to give them the benefit for that. It's just an odd way of managing. It's a mixed message. Not happy with that. But at the end of the day, you don't want to. I don't think it's big enough to start going, this is why he can't be manager. I don't think it's any of that. I don't think it needs to be as big as that because it's April and we have a really good winning record. And then we went on and scored 300 runs over the next 2 days. So you need to kind of take a step back from it and look at the bigger picture. Now, if this was something that happened in a pennant race when we're in August and it's cost us a game, then it would be a different conversation. I'd be very vocal about it. But I mean, if you want evidence as to why Boone is maybe not the guy, it's his playoff record and the way he's managed playoff games. I can have that conversation. But a game in April with the Ghost Runner situation and the fact that your entire bullpen's used up, I mean, I didn't think it was that huge a deal, but it wasn't. He didn't manage it well. He didn't manage it correctly. But on the other side of the coin, he did make a really good move by putting Verdugo in the cleanup spot, which isn't going to get any headlines from content creators that want him gone. But I mean, again, if you take a step back and look at the bigger picture, it was a successful series. So you take it with a grain of salt. I'm not excusing him, but bigger picture, it was a very successful series, and you learn from it. I just hope that they don't use this guy again. Not Boone, that fucking reliever from the Mets. Like, the dude should never be pitching in any type of game unless you've got a 20-run lead. The guy can't pitch. He sucks.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I want to say what's up to Damian, Acevedo, and Frederick. They popped in just in the last few minutes. So what's up to you guys? Good morning. And yeah, you're absolutely right. And Damian brings up a point here that's just what one side of the argument was saying is just every win is important. Boone and the front office need to play to win today, not tomorrow. You have to stack as many wins in this division. He's right. But at the same time, I'm not going to be too mad about not using Holmes for 2 innings in a game in April. I'm not. I'm sorry. We see how much this bullpen has to be used because we don't get length from the rotation. That's exactly why I understand what Boone was saying. However, 2 days later, he used Ferguson, Hamilton, and Gonzalez in a 10-win game. So you're kind of seeing the other side of the coin being like, what are you doing, man? Like you could have just you could have had your excuse in game one, and then you could have just let Tonkin finish out that game, and then you DFA him. We see this revolving door. I said it all off season. The Scranton shuttle is going to be used so heavily in the first couple of months until we get guys back. Talk about Canely, F. Ross, Trevino, until we get some of these guys back. And earlier, Joe made a point like I'd rather use guys from the minor leagues. So would I, but the Yankees probably don't want to start their clock early or use some of their options early. Because again, this is going to be a revolving door in this bullpen. So unfortunately, we're going to be seeing a guy like Tonkin. He's going to get DFA'd soon. Most likely, they'll add somebody else to the 40-man. They'll use him for a little bit. It's just going to – this cycle, they've been doing this for years. This is nothing new. That's why I wasn't surprised about it. I didn't like it. Trust me, I don't want to see Michael Tonkin pitching 2 innings for the Yankees, especially in extra innings. But exactly, you cannot put him out there, especially on his first day with the team. His first pitch was a wild pitch. Like it was like, oh, here we go. Like this is what you get for using a brand new pitcher with barely any experience. Like he probably didn't even know everybody's name yet, and he's out there in extra innings trying to save a game. So it was unfair to him, and it was a bad decision to go with him. It wasn't a bad decision to keep Holmes out of 2 innings being pitched, but it wasn't a good decision to go with Tonkin for both innings. That I will say. So I'm not mad about it. I am a little upset with how he used the bullpen in game 3 because there was just no need for that. Save your bullets for Baltimore. The game was already in hand. You're up 10. There's no need to let Gonzalez, especially Hamilton, who they said was dealing with soreness. Why is he pitching? Keep him out and have him ready for this game. So it was weird. Fortunately, we did win the series and the offense came to life, so it didn't really become a huge headline. It was just strange bullpen usage, especially after he said what he said 2 days before, like, oh, well, he's on pace to throw 80-plus games, so we want to keep him fresh. Well, shouldn't you want to keep the rest of your arms fresh? Because you don't know what Baltimore is going to be able to do to this pitching staff. They could blow up. We could shut them down. You just don't know. It was just really, really strange.
Thank you. That's where it comes down to. I don't care about the Clay Holmes situation in the 10th inning. Not too worried about that. You can save that bullet till later. I don't mind about that. There were other arms that you used in a safe situation that you can trust. You don't put Tonkin in that situation. You're trying to win a game. What is Tonkin doing in the 10th inning at all? But he, by some miracle, he got out of it by only giving up the 1 run, so it was still a tie game. To then go back to him, knowing that you don't trust him, knowing he can't pitch, and knowing that he's not going to be here at any time in the future, is mind-blowing, mind-boggling decision-making. That just doesn't make any sense at all. There has to be better ways to manage a bullpen than that. And to be honest, he was an architect of his own downfall because he was very quick to get rid of, to sub out earlier relievers in that game, where he could have stretched it a little bit longer so that we wouldn't have been in this situation if you knew fine that Clay Holmes only had a 1 inning limit. So I really disagreed with the way that he managed that bullpen. Like that, there were other ways in which he could have gotten through that game. Let's have a look at the list of the relievers that we used. We had Marinaccio, who went 1 1/3 without giving up a hit, earned run, and he took him out after 4 outs, and there was no reason to do that. So that's one of the scenarios where I'm saying that he took out a guy when there was really no need to that. You could have stretched him out going 2 innings with Marinaccio. Marinaccio was sailing right through. He give you 4 perfect outs, right? Why did you suddenly just take him out? What is he got a 1 1/3 innings limit? Is there an innings limit on Marinaccio? So that was a weird one. Santana,
15 pitches, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. Santana, only 2/3 of an inning he pitched. Right? You took him out quick. Caleb Ferguson, an inning, and only 1 walk allowed in that inning. So that's like 3 innings. Between 3 innings, you took out relievers that were all sailing through really fast. And then if you knew fine that there was a an absolute limit on the amount of relievers you could use in that day, then you need to be a little bit more. You have to be a bit smarter as to maybe going, well, Marinaccio, we need you to go 2 innings in this situation, bro, because we only got Clay Holmes for an inning. Then after him, it's only going to be Tompkin and Gonzalez. I'm hesitant to continue to use Gonzalez, so we're going to need you to stretch that out for 2 innings. Can you do that? Santana, we might need you to give us another inning or two. Can you do that? That is a better way of managing a bullpen than getting to the 10th inning and having no bullets. That's bad. That's bad usage of a bullpen. Because then you're like, well, who am I going to use? So then you use this Tompkins character, and holy shit, he's bad. Again, by some miracle, he got through the 10th inning. 11th inning, you've got to be smarter. You've got to be smarter and go, right, we got away with that one. All right?
Yeah.
We got away with that one. Somehow we're still got a tie game. He blew it, but we're still there. Don't blow this one. Then you bring in Gonzalez, right? But he didn't do it. Cost us the game. Again, not a big deal it's not a big deal if we lost. I didn't necessarily, I didn't lose my mind like some people did. Because I wanted to see the rest of the series. If the narrative was consistent, but it wasn't, because then he started to use panic bullpen management in Game 3 when we're up 10 runs in the 8th inning. That doesn't make any sense at all to me. So if you didn't trust Tompkins when you're up 10 and he put 2 runners on, why the fuck did you trust him when we're winning in a game where we had a tie game and you were happy just to let him ride it out and lose the game? So that is where there's a mix-up of narrative, and that's where I think that's where content creators and fans and media members have a right to question, because that doesn't make sense. As a mixed narrative, it's stupid bullpen management, frankly. It really is.
And Joe, what's up to Joe? Good to see you. Either he is incompetent or he's taking orders from somebody. Even a bad manager would use 3 pitchers that you need in Baltimore. Yeah, again, and Sunil asked earlier, what would you rather have position players pitch 2 innings apiece? No, I would just let Tonkin finish the game up 10, and then you DFA him, because he's being passed around the league like a, I'm not going to say the word, but
hot potato.
There you go, hot potato. There's the PG version. You don't need him. He's not going to be a guy that's going to get us big outs in October. They didn't pick him up to be that. They picked him up to give your bullpen a breather, because they're going to end up DFAing him eventually. And then when they get another guy back, Marinaccio is probably on the chopping block to sit back to the minors. That's how they do things with this bullpen. They never go all out and try to acquire big arms or sign big arms. They just kind of take these minor league signings or these pickups on waivers, and they use them and they cycle them through and through. So why not just let Tonkin finish that game? You were up 10. Highly unlikely he would have blown a 10-run lead there, 8-run lead, whatever it was at the time. And then you just go to the next series with the fresh bullpen, because as Joan mentioned, you do have a couple of guys that are not really known for innings. Schmidt and Cortez are going the first 2 games of the series. Now, Cortez has actually been our most reliable starter, but we know on any given day he can give you 4. And we know that Clark Schmidt is probably going to be good for 5, maybe 5. Is it Heel in the second game? I thought it was going Schmidt and then Nestor the first 2 games.
No, right? Heel gave up 5 earned runs and walked 6 guys.
I'm saying for the Baltimore series, it's Schmidt, Nestor, Heel, Rodon. I think that's how it's going. That's how the 4 games are. But nonetheless, I would much rather have the bullpen fresh for these games, because we know Schmidt's not good for many innings, and we know that Nestor can blow up at any given time. So why not have the bullpen as fresh as possible for this series instead of using them when you had a 10-run lead? Okay, thank you, Sean. So Schmidt, Nestor, Heel, Rodon. I did have it right. So I mean, that's our rotation right now. It's been great, don't get me wrong, but it's not known for innings, and that's why the bullpen is so so heavily used. So that's it. There's really not much more to say about the bullpen. It was strange, but it didn't cost us a series. We still got the series win, and we can roll on with a 19-10 record to take on the Orioles. Huge series here at the end of the month of April. So let's shift focus now to the offense because it broke out. 36 runs in 3 games could have been a sweep, but the 2 wins, first time since 2007, back-to-back games with 15 runs. That's been a long time, almost 2 decades worth of baseball without doing that. But who stood out to you in these 2 games? Was there one particular player that just kind of like stood out above the rest, or was just a collective effort?
Well, the great news is it was a collective effort because everybody contributed. There was not one person over that series that didn't contribute to some extent. Maybe argue Wells, but apart from that, I mean, but no, everyone contributed. Everybody. Verdugo came up huge. Torres came up huge on a number of occasions. Aaron Judge came up huge, and his glove came up huge, and not even on the not even on the defensive end. But Soto, obviously, he's just a man mountain, and Cabrera came through, Trevino came through. I mean, up and down the order, there was productivity. Stanton did his thing. Rizzo had a great series. He was on base the whole time. There was a lot to like. Sorry, Joan, you're right. 2 hits in a while. See, everybody contributed. It was a little bit of a joke, but everybody contributed, and even the bench contributed. We even got some stuff from Grisham. So there was a lot to like. Everybody came through, up and down the order, some great at-bats. And I love that we didn't take any at-bats off when we were up 10, 11 runs. We were still trying to drive in runs. I love that. So this team is a juggernaut. And this is what we've got to look forward to in the summer. And as we move on in the months ahead, there's going to be games like this. We're going to score 15, 25 runs in a game. Absolutely, because up and down that order, if everyone's hitting, they're all going to feed off each other. And they're all going to try and to improve on the previous guy's at-bats even, or to try and get them home. If one guy gets a runner in scoring position, the other person will want to drive him home. And that's what the great teams did. The great Yankee teams in the 90s and the noughties and the 70s and dating back to the Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig days. That's what it was all about. Really good team camaraderie and getting them home, whatever it takes. So I'm loving this new vibe and this energy. It's been inconsistent. Let's be fair, because there's been a 2-week slump where we couldn't get anything done, and now we've scored 400 runs in 2 days. But I think it will start to even out and be more consistent. And I think you're going to see this offense being the best in the league by a distance, because just look at who we have. It's a juggernaut lineup, really is. As long as people start hitting, and that's what we saw. Gleyber Torres finally came around, and by the way, what did we say last week? I'm not looking too much into Aaron Judge right now. What we need is Rizzo and Torres to start hitting, because that's when Aaron Judge will get better pitches to hit. And what's happened? Rizzo and Torres came through, had a really good series, and guess what? Aaron Judge crushed every pitch in the strike zone. Why? Because he got more pitches to hit, because then there was no safe place for the reliever or the pitcher. There was no safe space. They had to pitch to Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge got hot. That's what I'm saying. There's always a bigger picture, right? It's not just, oh, what's Aaron Judge doing? He sucks. Why is he going cool? There's a bigger picture to it. He needed protection. His protection stepped up. And then suddenly there's no safe place for the pitcher to go. So he had to pitch to pitches. So that's what I'm saying. Everybody contributed, and then when everybody contributes, there's going to be more pitches to hit for everybody. Everybody hits. Beautiful.
No, you're absolutely right. And Sean says Judge activated Hulk mode. Yep, he looked fantastic. That was the best. This is the best he's looked all season. Absolutely, it was his best series. And everybody, like you said, everyone stepped up in some way. Verdugo, even what was he 1-for-6, but he still had a big hit. He still got a big hit earlier in the series. Got the 3-run home run, first game in the cleanup spot. You can't ask for more. Grisham with the home run, Torres getting some big hits, Trevino, even Austin Wells getting on base, doing his thing. Everybody came through. Volpe, I feel like he really needed that yesterday because he has been struggling, really, really struggling at the top of the order. And I was ready to be like, okay, let's put Verdugo at the top. Let's move Volpe down again. But then he had 2 hits yesterday, big 3-run home run, going the other way for that home run, by the way, was very nice to see. So he needed that. Hopefully he can get on a hot streak, especially starting tonight. So it was just really good to see. Really, really good to see. Sean says 36 runs in 3 games against a good team. I mean, what else can you ask for? Milwaukee, first place in that Central. Sorry, Donald, but they are being. Are they though? Are they though? Because a lot of those pitches to Judge are out of the zone, and he's just been chasing them because he's trying to get on base.
Yes.
I mean, I get your point. There have been times where he has missed fastballs like over the middle of the plate. I'm not trying to excuse him, but if you watch a lot of his at-bats early in the season, he was taking walks because they did not want to deal with him because Rizzo wasn't hitting. Torres wasn't hitting. So they're like, we know that even a struggling Aaron Judge can take me 430 any given moment. So I'm going to pitch around him and hopefully get Rizzo to ground one out, roll over one. That's what they were doing all 2 seasons ago. That's what they're doing last year, the year before. So it's nothing new. But like McDonald said, if Rizzo and Torres are hitting behind him, and let's not forget Stanton, then they're going to have no choice but to pitch to Aaron Judge in some capacity because you're not going to want to have Soto draw a walk, which he most likely will, and then Judge draw a walk. And then here's a hot Anthony Rizzo or here's a hot Giancarlo Stanton coming up that's going to send all 3 runners in at one swing. That's what they can't afford to do. So they have pitched Judge differently this series because of the fact that Rizzo has been getting hot. Rizzo has been a lot better over his last 2 series combined. And that's definitely a good sign. I want to see that power come back because the weak contact from him was really alarming, but he seems to be locked in right now. Torres, I feel like he desperately needed that single through the middle just to get him going. All of a sudden, everyone's average, I think, except for Wells, is above 200 because seeing a bunch of guys hitting below 180 was very alarming. The OPSs are starting to climb back up. It's a good sign. That's how April statistics work. But especially going into this coming series, you needed it. You desperately needed the offense to wake up, and hopefully that can carry over because Baltimore, they struggled with Oakland the same way we did. So it's not like Baltimore is this juggernaut coming into this series. We may be catching them at a good time. Let's hope that's the case.
Agreed. No, that's exactly my point. That's exactly my point. Like Sean Browning, congratulations on 300 home runs for Rizzo. Great, great, great point. Salute to Anthony Rizzo. 300 home runs. He's had a really good career to this point. There's still more to come.
Yep, 300 World Series championship with the Cubs in 2016. Hopefully, we can get another one for him here. That'd be great.
One more.
That'd be fantastic. So let's talk about this upcoming series because we will get to the awards towards the end of the show as we usually do. Let's talk about Baltimore because, again, like I said, they've been scuffling. They did lose to Oakland. Do we think we can take this series on the road, or would you be satisfied with a split kind of coming out of the series the same way you came in? Nothing really changes standing-wise.
Well, I would love to come out with a series win. Obviously, we all would, but it would be great if we could get a series win because then we're really making a statement. But I would say as long as we don't lose the series, but the Orioles are a legitimate team. They're a fantastic team. It's going to be a hell of a series. It's going to be tough. I think it's gonna be neck and neck through most of the way. I think both teams are gonna win high 90s games. I think the Yankees will hit 100 wins. I do, but I think the Orioles won't be far off. I think they're two excellent teams. I think they're the class of the division, and I think that's how it's going to play out. So I think it's going to be a tight series. If the Yankees can take 3 out of 4, be amazing. 2 out of 4, not a big deal. 3 out of 4 would be amazing. I just don't want to lose that series. Don't lose that series. But
Yeah.
I think there's a lot to be optimistic about. And to be honest, we could win this series. But this team that we have, we're capable of winning every series. No, we're not going to win every series, but we're capable of winning every series.
Yeah. I mean, so far we've won we've split or won all but one series.
Exactly.
So that's a very good sign. Pretty much a month into the season, you have not lost a series yet. I'm hoping this is not the one where we both lost one series to Toronto, right? It was the Blue Jays that took us 2 out of 3.
Yeah, the A's obviously we shared with,
Yeah,
and then we lost the series to, was it the Blue Jays?
I think it was the Blue Jays, the series on the road in Toronto.
Yeah,
I think we lost that series. But look, I would take a split, bottom line split, as Frederick says. Sean thinks we're going to take 3 out of 4. That'd be fantastic. It'll be a test for Nestor's stuff, is what Jones says. Yeah, I know we got to deal with Corbin Burns at some point in this series, so I'm not looking forward to that. I think tonight they got Rodriguez going. They don't have a starter announced yet for the final game of the series, but their rotation has the potential to be outstanding, and they're not even fully healthy yet. They don't have Means or who's the other? Bradish. They're both hurt. So, and they've been chugging along. But that offense for Baltimore, they are scary. Gunnar Henderson's on another level right now. We know Rutschman can kill you at any moment. These guys can hit. They can flat out hit in Baltimore. So it's going to be a real test for our starting pitching to just shut them down in any way possible. Can we do it? I think this is our biggest test of the season to this point, probably going against the best offense that we've faced all season.
Yeah, let's look at. I've got a list of their stats here. Gunnar Henderson has 9 home runs and 22 RBIs, with a 600 slug, and that's pretty frightening. Pretty frightening. Colton Cowser has 6 home runs, 18 RBIs. Cedric Mullins has 6 home runs, 17 RBIs. Jordan Westberg has 5 home runs, 19 RBIs. Ryan Mountcastle has 14 RBIs. Adley Rutschman has 17 RBIs. Anthony Santander has 18 RBIs. That's 7 guys with at least 14 RBIs in their lineup. That's staggering. As a team, they've got their 5th overall in batting average, 1st overall in home runs. They're scoring runs in bunches, and Gunnar Henderson is an absolute monster of a player. He already has 32 hits to start the season, so he's an elite player, man. Really is. His OBP is 347, and Jordan Westberg and Mountcastle even have higher OBPs, 379 and 360. So there's 3 or 4 guys in their lineup that's on base almost 40% of the time. They're all driving in runs in bunches. That's a monster lineup. I don't know how Nestor Cortez is going to get through that.
Yeah, that to me, that's going to be our biggest test. I think Schmidt will do his usual thing. If Schmidt gives you 5 1/3, 3 runs, you'll be like, all right, well, that's Clark Schmidt. That's what he usually does. The one thing I think we have in our favor is our pitching is a little bit better than theirs, at least ERA-wise, team ERA. I think we're like the top or second in baseball behind the Mets, I think. And Baltimore, I think they're like middle of the pack. Their rotation hasn't been great outside of Burns has been they're clearly their best pitcher, but Bullpen wise, they're pretty solid, but they're obviously missing two of their big arms. So I think Cold Italian Pizza brings up a good point. They should be feeling the same way about our lineup right now. The way we're talking about their lineup, the Orioles should be feeling that way about our lineup because we're hitting right now. We're coming off a 36-run series, and that needs to carry over. Because what have we seen in the past? The Yankees will have one big series offensively and then crap the bed the next. This cannot be the series that happens. They have to keep up the pressure. Not saying they got to score 36 runs again or score 15 a game, but they got to be able to possibly outslug these guys. This could be a very high-scoring series depending on if Cortez is wild. Does Rodon struggle? Does Heel have one of his rough games? And a lot of these questions come into play here. And the same thing goes for their pitching. Grayson Rodriguez is all over the place. His stuff is fantastic, but he has a tendency to walk a lot of guys. He's a guy that's got command issues. The Yankees, very patient lineup. Can they take advantage of that and put some runs on the board against him? That would be key. So there's so much to look forward to in this series. And even though it's late April, first meeting between these two teams, it feels like a late September kind of playoff atmosphere because this is going to be big. It should be a packed house. And we do know that there are two guys that love hitting in Baltimore, Aaron Judge and Gleyber Torres. So I think those are my two key guys going into this set. If they just do what they usually do in Baltimore, I think we have a really good shot to at least split.
Well, to that point, Cold Italian Pizza, our offense is just as much of a juggernaut. So the Orioles are number one in home runs. We're second in the MLB in home runs. And if I was waxing lyrical about the fact that they have 7 guys with at least 14 RBIs, we have 8 guys with at least 11 RBIs. We have that kind of depth too. I mean, Juan Soto is just having a ridiculous year. His OBP puts Gunnar Henderson to shame. His OBP is 434. OPS of 1,000. 7 home runs, 24 RBIs. With a 318 batting average. Aaron Judge has 18 RBIs. Giancarlo Stanton is having a great start to the year. 6 home runs, 16 RBIs. His OPS is just under 800. He's having a really good start to the year. Anthony Rizzo has 15 RBIs already, and he slumped through most of April. He's got 15 RBIs, and he slumped through most of April. It's a great sign. Verdugo's 13 ribs. Oswaldo Cabrera, 16 ribs. Anthony Volpe, 13 ribs. Jose Trevino, 11 ribs. So there's production up and down. And a ton of guys are getting walks plenty of times, which is great. Aaron Judge has 22 walks. Juan Soto, 24. Verdugo, 15. Volpe, 13. That's a ton of walks. And up and down the order. There's it's going to be a hell of a series. There's going to be plenty of runs, I think.
Yeah. I mean, you look at some of these guys, like you mentioned, their RBI counts. Rizzo and Judge specifically, like, they struggled the entire month essentially, and just recently they really caught fire, but all of a sudden these numbers look a lot better. If you would have told me that Anthony Rizzo would basically finish the month a 277 hitter with an OPS just under 800, I'd be like, you're crazy. The guy can't see the ball right now.
Yep.
And here he is. Aaron Judge looked like he didn't belong in the majors for a couple of weeks, and here he is with a 777 OPS and 6 dingers already. So I mean, they're turning it around at the right time, and the walks are so important against a Orioles rotation that can be wild, especially Grayson Rodriguez. So I think they really need to take advantage of that. And Sean brings up a good point. Cabrera is also having a big season. He's kind of been hot and cold here and there, but overall, you're going to take those numbers from him every day of the week because the expectations for him were basically at the floor. And he has taken that ball and run with it as a third baseman. Everyone's coming through. The only guy that I really need to see break out a little bit is Austin Wells. He's the only one that has yet to have that breakout game or breakout series. And if he does start hitting, this lineup's going to get so much deeper. And then we're going to get guys back like Dominguez at some point in the season. This lineup has all the potential in the world to be really, really good. And I hope that they show that in this series. I hope that they go into Baltimore and show everyone that's been doubting them, saying that they're not going to catch Baltimore, saying, watch this. That's what I want them to do. Go into Baltimore, I don't care what month it is, and beat the crap out of them. That's what I want to see. Because if you do that, you're going to send a statement to the Orioles, to the AL East, and to the rest of baseball that you're not something to mess around with. Because this offense at any moment can put up 30 in 2 games. They can put up 15 a game. They had their best series of the season, and let's keep the train rolling, though. That's what I want to see. Don't stop hitting. Don't stop taking walks. Get guys on base, drive them in. That's what you got to do. And that
I
last
don't
series was
believe
a
that
real
it will
start.
stop because I saw the quality of their at bats through this series when we scored the 30 runs over the 2 days. We were still putting together quality at bats. We weren't giving the pitcher anything, and we were up by 10 runs. This is a noticeable difference than the season before, season before that, where if we had a comfortable lead or any kind of lead, we kind of took the rest of the game off. We're like, oh, we put a 5 spot on the board. I'm good. And we kind of sailed through the rest of the game. Not this time. These guys are wanting to they're wanting to put up numbers. You can see it. You can see it. You saw how frustrated Sewell was when we were up 15-5, and he didn't come through. You threw the bat down. Like, this is someone that he wants to bat 1,000. We need more guys with that kind of Paul O'Neill mentality. Never taking that bat off. So I'm not worried about that. Not this year. Uh, there's a different mentality about this team. It's the best locker room. Aaron Boone says this is the best locker room he's been a part of. I think Verdugo has a lot to do with that, to be honest, and so does Soto. I love the camaraderie. I can tell there's a really good camaraderie. There's a different vibe. There's a different feeling when you're in the stands watching the game. There's a different vibe, a different feeling about this team. You can tell. I really feel that the sky's the limit with this team. The only thing that can stop them is frankly themselves. You know,
Yep.
they need to fix the bullpen situation. Even though the bullpen hasn't cost them much, it needs to be a little bit more consistent. And what I would say to Aaron Boone is if we got big series against like the Orioles, Stros, Red Sox against the rivals, I would stretch Clay Holmes out to 6 outs if required, because you really want to stamp your authority in those ones. You really do. So if there's a similar situation, we can't mess around. So if we're in the same spot, say tonight, tomorrow, the next day against the Orioles, and we need Clay Holmes to stretch out to ensure we win the game, you got to do it, because the Orioles are legit, and you want to really stamp your authority on them. You don't want to be playing catch up to this team.
Yeah, exactly.
Good
This is
point
the
for
big
Ed.
series.
The Orioles are base stealers and our catchers have no arm. That's a great point.
Yeah. That's one thing we have to look out for, because Mullins can swipe a bag, and they got speed. Even Rutschman can take one on you. A catcher being able to run. What's up, TC? Good to see you. So, I mean, overall, we're all excited for the series, and I think it's going to be really good. However, we got about 15 minutes left. It is time for the awards for this Milwaukee series that we just had. A lot of awards, a lot of possible candidates. So, Donald, it's your segment. Take it away.
Okay, guys, get your pens and pencils out, and let's think up who our award winners are for this series. There are plenty of candidates, plenty. So let's have a quick breakdown as to who's in the running for the MVP. So when you score 300 runs, there's a bunch of teams. There's a bunch of guys in the team that deserve a mention. So obviously, yesterday we had We had a 3 RBI night from Anthony Volpe, 3 RBI night from Aaron Judge, plus 3 hits. We had a 4-hit night from Anthony Rizzo and 2 RBIs and a home run. Gleyber Torres even came through. Trevino had 3 RBIs, so there's a ton of options there. The previous game before that was a similar story. Big G had hit a home run, big 3-run blast. It was good to see. Big G. You had 4 RBIs from Verdugo. You had 2 RBIs from Judge, 3 RBIs from Torres. So tons of options. So the MVP. Let's ask Rob first. Who's your MVP?
Got to give it to the captain, Aaron Judge. We needed him to step up. He came through. 2 home runs back-to-back nights. 3 hits again yesterday. Chat's in agreement with me. Aaron Judge, 99. Get my MVP.
5 hits, 5 RBIs over the course of the series from the captain. Plus, the hand of God with by the catch interference. Bro, that's some masterful work right there, man. Like a hockey goalie would be proud of that. So that was fantastic from Aaron Judge. I loved it. I loved that. Okay, well, we don't have Uncle Tats to ask, and Uncle Tats is going AWOL. I've messaged him, Uncle Tats, what's your awards? And it's been ignored. So maybe we do need to look at milk cartons in North Carolina to see if he's okay. I don't know if he's in witness protection. I don't know if he's if he's on the run. Send out a smoke signal. Uncle T, are you okay? So, okay. Then I will ask the chat. The chat, who is your MVP? It looks like everyone is in agreement that it's Aaron Judge. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think there's like 6 guys that are going Aaron Judge. Okay. Well, you see, I'm kind of torn here because there's another candidate. 5 hits and 5 RBIs, and that's Alex Verdugo. And Alex Verdugo had a lot to do with winning the series. So give me the MVP, Alex Verdugo, because that one move put him in the cleanup spot. He delivered 5 RBIs. So I will give the MVP to Alex Verdugo. The Loki MVP, I will give to Aaron Judge. He's the Loki MVP. He gets that award. And let's ask Robinho.
I'm the flip of you. He's my low key, and Judge is my MVP. And Alex Verdugo had a fantastic series, stepping up in the cleanup role. Not an easy thing to do, being Aaron Judge's protection, and he answered that call immediately. So I'm taking Doogie, the dog. I'm not gonna bark on camera, but yeah, give me Doogie dog. Fine. There we go.
That did kind of sound more like an otter, but a sea otter, but it's as close as I can get. All right, what did the chat got here?
A lot of
Verdugo low-key, Stevie B, Verdugo low-key. All right, so most people have it flipped in as Rob has. Okay, the Clutch Award. Well, there's a lot of candidates because Gleyber Torres came up clutch a number of times. So did Doogie Dog. So did Judge. So Stanton too. Soto too. Like, there's a ton of guys. Like, there's not really a wrong answer. Jose Trevino had a really good series. So let's ask the chat first. Chat, who do you have getting the Clutch Award? Frederick has Verdugo. Sean has Volpe.
Like TC.
TC Steele, Jose Trevino for his fine pitching performance. That's a winning comment right there. Not only did Trevino step up with the bat because he drove in a bunch of RBIs, but he also pitched a very fine inning.
Just take that, Ohtani. We
Yeah,
got the real two-way player in New York. Exactly. We didn't need you.
We got a fucking knuckleballer, baby. I don't know whether it dropped due to lack of velocity. It's like 55 miles an hour. But I saw a little movement in there that you could maybe argue was a knuckleball.
I was going to say that.
Justice caused 7 runs in 1 inning. I was thinking that.
Can we give the clutch award to the judge's hand? Because if not for that, we probably don't have that outburst again. I'm going to give the clutch award to that goddamn mitt he's wearing.
Yeah.
The oven mitt of God just gave us a breakout inning.
I'm in agreement. Aaron Judge gets the clutch award. Aaron Judge, the hand of God, the judge's oven mitt. The biggest oven mitt I've ever fucking seen.
And you know what's great about it is everyone was like, oh, that's not fair. That's not fair. But then the detectives went to immediate work and like, oh, no, here's a picture of him sliding the exact same way 3 years ago. So, no, he wasn't cheating. He's been doing that just the first time it actually hit his big-ass hand. So maybe the oven mitt's bigger than it was in previous years.
Oh, no, I'm pretty sure he was deliberate. But
I mean, he tried.
It was arguable. It was at least arguable that it wasn't deliberate for him to get away with it. But clearly he did it deliberately because
he got away with it though.
Boom! That was phenomenal, man. It was like fucking Spider-Man. It was like caught, like fucking damn. So yeah, Aaron Judge is I think the oven mitt of God deserves a clutch award. But to be honest, Torres deserves a shout out because he always came through in big spots. He drove in a bunch of runs. And we really needed him to. So I was thinking of giving him an award, to be honest, but we don't score 7 runs without Aaron Judge and the big glove, and then coming through and destroying their pitching from thereafter. So Judge does win it, but it was close, bro. Let's go with the pitching award.
Carlos Rodon for me. He came out there and he came through. That's 2 starts in a row now. He's looked really good against a good lineup and very good lineup in Milwaukee. I keep saying Baltimore. Very good lineup in Milwaukee. He came out and he did his job. He was the best pitcher on the mound all series.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about that. I think Rodon deserves the award. Let's go to the chat.
Rodon.
It looks like the chat has it pretty much unanimous as well. Rodon gets the clutch award. And the best pitching award, I should say. And still no word from Uncle Milk Carton. So that's fine then. Thank you. So glad that our leader-in-chief has decided to completely abandon the podcast which he created. And
don't worry, I'm going to put my Photoshop skills to good use. I'm putting him
that's good. Yeah. And Rob is now taking over. It's official. The Take the L Award. Now there are still several candidates for this. You could have Aaron Boone as a candidate. You could even have that fucking imbecile that we brought in from the Mets to blow the game. That's another option. You could even add Uncle Milk Carton for ignoring us on a Monday morning. So there's all kinds of options. Let's ask Rubinho first.
I know I don't want to overreact about it, but Aaron Boone just I know kind of cost us a win. I don't want to take too seriously about that or be too serious about that, but his bullpen management was so wacky after explaining himself 2 days prior. But I want to give it to Tats, but I want to give him a break because we've been roasting him all show. Give him a little break. I'll give it to Aaron Boone. I'll give it to Boone.
Oh, Uh, yeah. Sunil has Tonka Truck Tonkin. Fucking. There's a few candidates there like Tonkin, but I mean I can't fault the guy. I mean
That's
he's
it.
been
He's not good.
he's not good, and it's not his fault that he's not good. And there's a reason why he's been passed around uh, like a hot potato and a nice PG-13 a way of putting it. So I mean, is it really his fault that he sucks? So it's not really his fault that he was put in a situation to fail. So the L goes to Aaron Boone for putting him in a situation to fail and pretty much admitting it afterwards. Uh, Bizarre management. So yeah, and the chat is pretty much united. The L award goes to Uncle Milk Carton. Sorry, no, Aaron Boone. Aaron Boone. Yeah, everyone has Aaron Boone as the L, so he takes the L. And the next question is, what do we give Aaron Boone out of 10?
We won the series, but again, just him kind of like completely doing a 180 on his comments 2 nights later. I'm gonna give him a 5. He managed us out of a win, out of a sweep, but we still won the series despite that. I'm giving him a 5. I just don't like the fact that he used Hamilton, Ferguson, and Gonzalez in a blowout when you did not use Hamilton before that. And you said Hamilton was hurt and he's resting or whatever it is. Sunil, your vote doesn't count. Again, stop with the decimals. You're just completely not listening every week. Every single time we do awards, you do this 7.75.
Sunil must be a genius mathematician. He must be like beautiful mind, like always going in decimal points.
Oh, he invented math.
Are you like Goodwill Hunting or something? Sean Browning has 7 out of 10 for Aaron Boone. So before we go further, I want to give Sean an opportunity to defend how he could give Aaron Boone 7 out of 10. You have 1 minute, Sean, to convince me how he could possibly be 7 out of 10 considering the way that he managed the first game. You're on the clock, brother. Sneal,
Jeopardy music.
7.75 out of 10. What? Mr. fucking Goodwill Hunting over here. Explain to me A, the decimal point, and B, how you could give him such a high rating. The award for the best awards announcer, Donald over Rob. Well, I appreciate it, Sunil, but I think you're just trying to kiss my ass because I've just ripped you 2 seconds ago.
The award for best, the worst ass kisser goes to Sunil. That's for damn sure. There you go.
Frederick has 5 out of 10 for Boone. Okay, Joe is 4 out of 10. Sean Stevie B is 4 out of 10. I agree.
Sean brings up a good point. He starts off every series with a 10, and each mistake I take away a point. He must have made 3 mistakes in one game, or at least in game 1 and game 3. What were those 3 mistakes, Sean? I would like to know.
But surely if you make 3 massive mistakes in a series, it should count you lower than a 7, because 7 is a good reward for me. Like 7, that's like a B plus in my opinion. You know? So it is kind of 7 out of 10 is strong. That's like a strong B, right?
That was always a C when I was in school. Maybe that's probably why I was like a C student. I was always getting 70%.
Well, maybe that's why I'm always a C student, because I was always really happy with a 7 out of 10. Like, yeah, baby, let's go.
Would you rather? I would rather you stop putting out this nonsense from 1982 or whatever year you're coming from in your damn DeLorean. He's a C. Yeah, Sean's giving him a C. See, we were on the same grading process there. I wish 70 was a damn B. I would have great grades in school.
I think 70 is really good. I would be delighted with a 7 out of 10. But that's probably why I scraped through university. But that's because I was sitting watching Nick games until 6 o'clock in the morning and not doing any studies. But we'll pass on that. I would say that he gets a 4 out of 10. Although, to be honest, the Verdugo move I think was smart. He did change the batting lineup, and then it did help us score 30 runs. So that puts him up to a 5. I'm giving him a 5 out of 10 because I'm generous. But the way that he managed Game 3 was actually dumber than the way he managed Game 1. Game 1, you could put a pass because he gave you his reasons, all right? So then you wanted to see, all right, in that case, please be consistent with the rest of the series. And then in Game 3, up 10, he was that terrified of Tompkin putting 2 runners on that he had to quickly get him out of the game. What did you think was going to happen? It's not possible to give up a 10-run home run. What did you think was going to happen when you're up 10 runs? You have 2 runners on with J.R. Tolkien as your fucking reliever. Like, why are you so hot off the trigger that time, but you're not hot off the trigger when he's about to cost you a game in Game 1? That's why there's like a serious thing that someone needs to ask that question. I hope it's the guys from Talking Yanks that ask that question because they never really are afraid to ask questions like that. So shout out to them because they usually ask them some pretty leading questions because the rest of the media don't do anything like that. So that would be a good question for me. But Sean's right. The Verdugo move redeemed me. Before we get to the Prick Award, that is a good point. The Verdugo move redeemed me. What would you do with this Verdugo situation? Do you still put him as a cleanup hitter, or do you think that really what the Yankees need to do is put him as a leadoff hitter?
See, that's what I was thinking before. After watching Volpe struggle the way he was up until really yesterday, I was like, I think it's time to go back to the way it was, but just put Verdugo leadoff instead of Torres. And you go, it would be Verdugo, Judge. I was thinking put Judge too, just to split up the lefties. Go Verdugo, Judge, Soto, Stanton. Then you can go Rizzo, Torres, Volpe, Wells, Cabrera. Or in some, you can put 8, 9, however you really want, and depending on who's the catcher. That's how I would have done it. Put Volpe 6 or 7 because he was hitting there, and that maybe that would help him out a little bit. I thought it was too early to move him because he was so good when he was hitting there, and I thought maybe it's a bit too early, and then he went on that cold streak, but I'm hoping yesterday is what turns him around. But as for now, I think you keep it the way it is because it worked. 2 days in a row, you scored 15 runs. Verdugo hitting the way he is clearly good protection for Aaron Judge, and the guys hitting behind him are starting to see better pitches. So I think you keep it the way it is for now until you have a reason to change it.
It's a good point. See, what I'm thinking here, but maybe this needs a full discussion. Maybe we'll think about this for Wednesday's pod, but what I'm worried about with Volpe leading off is that you've taken away, oddly, but hear me out, because this is not normal for a leadoff hitter. You've kind of taken the speed element away from him, because he's going to be afraid to steal bases when you've got Juan Soto and Aaron Judge following him, because you don't want to give up an early out. I think he was actually freer, lower in the order to do his thing, to get on base, try and steal bases, be aggressive. But I'm afraid that he's afraid of doing that when you've got Soto, Judge, Stanton, Rizzo following you. Do you want to give up outs? And in that same situation, I was very frustrated when Boone didn't bunt Volpe. When Volpe didn't bunt to get that runner over to third. This is in Game 1, so we could score that extra run. When Stanton got the double, wasn't it Stanton that got the double lead off? Yes, Stanton got the pinch hit double to lead off. There was an opportunity, then we pinch ran him. There was an opportunity for Volpe to bunt him over to third and then to drive that runner in. But we didn't do it because, again, we're afraid to give up outs when you've got Soto, Judge, etc. following you. I'm wondering whether his game is a little bit inhibited right now. Now, that's not normally when you argue when someone is up at the top of the order because speed is normally a key element. But when you've got so many phenomenal players following you, you don't want to give up outs. So I've not seen him really steal too much. Uh, but Joan did say that Volpe and Soda did do a double steal last game. Fair enough, but I haven't seen him do it all that often. I think Verdugo would be more comfortable in the leadoff spot, and Volpe would be great as a 6 or 7 hitter. I think he's batting 500 in the 7 hole.
He was killing
Uh,
it.
yeah, but the thing is, the Yankees made that move, and you can't really move him now because it almost feels like a punishment, and he doesn't deserve it because he's been so good. So
Yeah.
Yankees have made this decision, and they kind of just have to ride with it now. And I mean, I defended it at the time because he was been our best hitter other than Soto to start the year. So give it a bigger sample size. I'm just glad they moved Verdugo up because he deserves it, and it also helps with his lefty bat to kind of break up the righties. So it was a smart call.
Yeah, and Joe brings up a good point, or he said you got to leave Volpe there now, but Verdugo should have been the leadoff because we were saying that all offseason.
Yeah,
Verdugo should probably lead off, and Torres being there, I get it. What the idea was because he was able to get on base and he was seeing the ball a lot better in the leadoff spot, and then they made the switch. So that's why I was like the timing of it was weird, but now you kind of have to stick with it because, like you said, if you do that, you're kind of demoting Volpe. But I really do think he's better in the bottom of the order. I truly do. I know he's got the tools to be a leadoff hitter, but he just looks so much more comfortable batting 6th or 7th to where when you do eventually get a guy like Dominguez up here, I feel like he's either batting leadoff or cleanup. You could put him any one of those spots and he'll do his job. And obviously we have other guys coming up through the pipeline the next coming years that could be a leadoff hitter, but I just feel like Volpe looks so comfortable. That was my biggest issue is why change it when he was already like he was coming into his own batting in the bottom of the order because the bottom of the order for a while was kind of a black hole because without Volpe there, and then the top of the order became a black hole. The middle of the order became a black hole. So it was weird timing, but I do agree that now you kind of have to keep him there because it might kill his confidence because now he's starting to turn it around.
yeah,
Let's see if it continues.
yeah. You don't want to kill his confidence. You made the move now. Got to ride it out. I think Verdugo, considering his whole career, he spent most of the time at the top of the order. He could be very comfortable and undaunted. And I'm sorry, but there is a lot of pressure on you when you've got Juan Soto behind you and Aaron Judge. You want to get on base. Uh, it's only natural. When you've got two Hall of Famers coming after you, you want to hold up your end of the bargain. So there's going to be that increased pressure. And there's one person that doesn't seem daunted by pressure, and that's Verdugo. Uh, Again, not to beat our own drum here, but we did say Verdugo is going to be a very good acquisition for this team. He's going to help the locker room, which he has, and he's a good hitter and a good left fielder to boot. It was a smart pickup by Brian Cashman. He didn't get any credit for it, but I felt that was a really underrated acquisition. He's really helped this team.
Oh yeah, 1000%. Let's not forget how good his defense has been. He's been outstanding
Incredible.
in left field. And that was kind of a question mark because they didn't know where they were going to play him. I was like, you going to put him in center, you're going to put him in left, but he's been great in left field. He ran one down. I think it was it yesterday or the day before? It was a deep fly ball, and it looked like it was going to go, and he just ran it down and made it look easy. I'm like, holy shit, Verdugo can move out there, and he's
I
been
know.
fantastic. Our defense in the outfield has been superb this year.
There's been more than a few loud outs that you're thinking, Christ, that's a home run, or that's a deep double in the gap, and then Verdugo's just bang, he's there, catch, no problem. Damn, this guy's an excellent left fielder. I didn't even actually realize how good a left fielder he actually was until we've seen him for us. He's doing an outrageous job because Fenway is such a joke in left field with that wall. It's very awkward to handle it. So you had to kind of grade on a curve a little bit. But the Yankees left field is huge. There's a lot of real estate to cover, and he does it with such ease. I actually love our outfield defense. Him, Judge, and Soto are excellent out there. So yeah, really happy with what Verdugo's done. It was a really good acquisition. I would like him. I think that he's more of a leadoff guy than he is a cleanup hitter. But at the moment, we ride this out because it helped. We scored 30 freaking runs. So you know what? If Boone kind of gets it for the weird bullpen management, he does deserve credit for that move because that's an underrated move, and it helped change things up again and gave us a little bit of a spark. So I appreciate that. Now move on to the Prick Award. Let's ask Robinho, who's your prick?
Can I give this one to Tonkin because I was kind of not blaming him? I'm gonna blame Brian Cashman for once for a second here because why him? Now, why didn't you give it to someone that's been in your system already? You could have put Bickford on the 40-man, gave him a shot. He's been pitching for us in Scranton for a little while now. Dwayne Underwood. You could have gone with any one of these guys that you probably could have DFA'd again and got them back. So I'm giving it to Brian Cashman, man. Like, you didn't need to add Tonkin and combine that with Boone. You didn't need to throw him out there when the guy has just got there. He probably doesn't even know anyone's name at that point. Not everybody's name. Hasn't even met some of the staff, the ball boy. And here he is pitching the 10th and 11th inning of a one-run game. That wasn't fair to him. I'm going to give it to Cashman, though, because he could have easily gone to somebody else in the system. Yeah, Morris was right there. They never used him.
Sean has Prick Award Tonkin. FJ, Cashman's back to dumpster. Okay, so we've got a few votes for Cashman. It looks like Cashman's going to win. Okay. Well, there's a few candidates for me. Uncle Witness Protection is certainly in the running. I'm joking. I love you, Uncle T. I know who the Prick Award is. Joel Embiid, you fucking cheat. Fuck you, Joel Embiid, trying to injure on my fucking Knicks. We're gonna fucking beat you in 5, motherfucker. Take that shit. Yeah, New York, baby. Fuck you, Philly, and your shitty fucking cheesesteaks and your dumb fucking Rocky love for a fucking fictitious boxer. He's not fucking real. He's not a real fucking boxer. And cheesesteaks isn't fucking real. How about just have a fucking proper steak cooked nicely with some like fucking cream sauce and some fucking mushrooms, and that's how you fucking make it. That's how you make a fucking steak. You don't fucking put cheese on it. That's fucking ridiculous. Your city sucks. Joel Embiid sucks. And they're all a bunch of fucking cheats. Oh, and the Knicks took over your fucking town. You bunch of fucking idiots and reprobates. Enjoy that. Thank you.
Apologies, Tom, for having to edit this part out of the show, most likely when it's on SportsWire Radio. But yeah, look, I'm not even as a Knicks fan, I will say that was pretty embarrassing for Philly to have their entire arena took over by a bunch of screaming New Yorkers. Jesus Christ. They got to feel ashamed. They were putting jerseys on the Wilt Chamberlain statue. You got to feel embarrassed if you're a Philly fan. But I can't stand Philly. There you go. I cannot stand Philly at all. I hate that place. I hate that sports. I hate all their sports teams. I hate that town. I don't like people from Philly very much. So you guys deserve it. You guys are always talking all that talk about, oh, that wouldn't happen in Philly. Well, it happened in Philly, and you guys walked away from it. So, yeah. Guys called your team soft. They were calling their own team soft. We're not going to Game 5. What's the point? They gave up. The Knicks beat the crap out of them, and Joel Embiid is a piece of garbage. I will say that. That man got all the breaks yesterday and could not win that game.
Like, how about you try and win legitimately? How about you just try and win by actually having a jump shot than trying to fake fouls and then stamping all our players to try and get them injured? That's basically what he did. He stamped on Hart to try and get him injured. He kicked Hartenstein in the balls to try and get him injured. Put him in foul trouble. And then got Mitchell Robinson injured by grabbing his leg and then twisting it around like a fucking like I don't know what. And then has amazingly the entire league is all right with him doing that. It's not an issue because he's a superstar. So
superstar calls. Those are real.
Absolute reprobates over in Philly.
Well, On that note, that is going to wrap it up for us here on this Monday morning. Thank you to everybody that joined us in the chat. It was good to see everybody from start to finish. And hopefully Wednesday, I'm not going to make any promises because I said he would be here Monday because I thought he would. But witness protection, Uncle Tats he might be here. He might not. We don't know. So I'm not going to make any promises. It might be us two again. It might be Uncle Tats joining us. But one thing remains to be seen. A hostile takeover might be needed.
It started. The hostile takeover has started. Rob, you are a new host. Congratulations.
Thank you. Take that, Sunil. I'm a great host. So that is going to wrap it up for us here at the Pinstripe Chronicles. Make sure you tune in Wednesday at 10 a.m. We will be back for sure. We don't know about our leader. We'll see. But we do love you, Uncle Tats. Hopefully we see you soon. And we will see you all Wednesday morning. Let's go, Yanks. And as Tats always says, wear those pinstripes of pride.
Oh, I do want to say one thing, right? Before we sign off. I have to give credit to Milwaukee for something. Their owner did a drive where, like, everybody, all the fans was like got in for $5. So the whole series was basically a sellout. He did a $5 drive, and all the fans went because like it only cost like $5 to get in. That's a pretty damn good owner right there. So he does get an award for being a damn cool owner. That's the kind of shit that's cool, because we've discussed on this show in the past with Tats and Rob that there's not enough owners that care about the fans, care enough about their teams. This owner, because he came on because I was getting tired of Michael Kay, and I switched over to the Brewers, and because they've got some great announcers, including that historic one that did all the major league movies, and their owner, their GM or owner came on. He hopped on and just said, "We've got this drive on. Everyone come on. $5 to get in." And there was 36,000. There was a sellout every single game. That's a damn cool thing right there. That would be great if the Yankees did that. Although it's actually really cheap to get into Yankee Stadium these days. You can get some nice seats for like $9-10 in the last minute. So nothing to do with the Yankees, but there's not enough owners that do what the Brewers did there. So salute to them. I think a big hats off to them. That's really fucking cool. Looks like a fun time over there as well.
It is a nice stadium, but so props to the owner of the Brewers, as Donald said, and that is going to wrap it up for us here. As Tats always says, wear those pinstripes of pride and play hard.